Hey everyone, Once Bitten here. So the Bretonnians rolled out of their strongholds to face a Skaven army um, over a hill with a bunch of shiny stuff on it. Basically, we rolled up the Watchtower scenario, and we decided that we'd go ahead and play it. And we would modify the rules so that instead of a building, there's a hill in the middle of a table. And so we put some shiny stuff on the hill, said it looked like warpstone, and of course the Bretonnians, it looks like shiny stuff, and play over that. But other than that, it's all the same rules as the Watchtower scenario. So I was able to put a small core unit on top of it, and then we went. So overall, the board looked like this. Starting from right to left, he's got a small unit of slaves in the corner, big unit of slaves. I think it's like 80 something. He's got a Gracier with the Screaming Bell, with a bunch of clan rats, and also just a bunker for his character. So he's got his BSB, he's got a Plague Priest in with him, and just to round it out, he has an assassin in there. There's a Warp Lightning Cannon next to it, a Hell Pit next to that, another big unit of 80 slaves, another Hell Pit, and then another unit of small slaves, another small unit of slaves. And he also has a unit of 10 Gutter Runners that'll be coming on later. So, in looking at his list, I think the biggest thing I felt had going for me was the Lord with Heroic Killing Blow. The only problem is there's so many targets. He can kill the Screaming Bell and both Hell Pits because you don't get regen against Killing Blow. So what I was trying to do is figure out how I could isolate him to pick on one at a time and get him to kill all those things. I have trebuchets which could be used for those as well. I'd really rather it whittle down his units so they're not steadfast forever. So I really felt I did not build this list to go anti-Skaven, but I really felt that I had tools to deal with this list. So on the left I put a trebuchet. I put the fast cav there because I knew his gutter runners were going to come on near one of my trebuchets, and I don't know, my unit of fast cav is not going to deal with gutter runners, but nevertheless, that's why I had him there. Small unit of bowmen, 11 Knights Errant with the Errantry Banner, which I would like to take them into a Hell Pit, although I don't think they're going to kill it on the charge, and after that I don't think they're going to do a whole lot to it. So I need to get Hell Pit weakened first, and then I think these Knights Errant could finish it off. Otherwise I might just be sacrificing them. Big unit of Men-at-Arms, 11 Knights of the Realm, and then I have, this is a character bunker. So I have the Green Knight model. He's in the middle of the front row. He's my general, and again he has Virtue of Heroism and the Heartwood Lance. And I didn't put on any other goodies just to save points for him. So he can re-roll failed rolls to wound, and any 6s when wounding will kill anything except a swarm. I've got my Prophetess, level 4 life. She's got Dispel Scroll. And then I've got my Battle Standard Bearer and another Paladin. Now both of these have a 1-up re-rollable armor save. And my General has a 2-up armor save, but he has 3 wounds, and so I think it's easier for him to survive until the next round of magic when the Lore of Life attribute can heal him up. So it really is designed where I've got a front row that is fairly killy with 4 attacks with Heroic Killing Blow, and then a Paladin with 3 attacks, Sword of Might. But more importantly, it's hard to get wounds through to the unit. Anyway, I got another unit of Men-at-Arms, and then another Trebuchet, and Peg Knights over here to help out should the Gutter Runners come in, or just take out those slaves coming at them. And of course, my archers on the hill. Now, because it's the Watchtower, they cannot choose to leave on turn 1 until, I guess it's after my turn, on my turn 1. So it won't take that much for him to charge me, and if he does, these guys are it's a bad day to be a peasant on the hill. So we go to Skaven turn 1, and yeah, he actually charged all 3 of his infantry units in there, and the Screaming Bell actually failed it, and it was pretty much had the shortest charge to get there. So anyway, both the slave units got in there, and then you can see he took his Hell Pits and he's just kind of marching around the side, and that's going to make for a real challenge, because if his slaves can just stay steadfast on that hill and then his Hell Pits can slam into my flank, I'm going to have a real hard time contesting that hill. So yeah, there's those guys coming around. The Warp Lightning Cannon, man, yeah, he was aiming for my knights. He misfired, and so he had to basically just spit out his shot just straight ahead, a certain like 4d6 or something. So basically he had a big round template land right on his units. He should have lost a lot more. He let me roll to wound, and I rolled ones, I swear. But that's okay. It still weakened both those units a little bit, and I will take that rather than that warp lightning cannon into my knights. After combat, of course, yeah, they had to run away from the unit with the most ranks, and so they ran at the angle you see, and he ended up where you can see. So, yeah, this is real interesting. So I charged the unit that was right in front of all my guys. He fled from my leftmost men-at-arms, and then I think I charged him with my knights, and then, I mean, I just kind of pushed him back, and then I redirected everybody into the unit on the hill. And I was actually kind of worried that I wouldn't make it, I wouldn't have enough room for it, but yeah, I was fine. Oh, this picture is wrong. That men-at-arms unit on the right is actually in horde formation, and when I moved them up, I just changed their formation without thinking about it, and then after I took this picture, I realized it and I changed it back. If you look on the left, my knights errant, I'm just going to sit there and try to fend off one of those hell pits. I didn't think I could really make the charge, and so I'm okay. I'm hoping, I'm just hoping they don't counter charge. Overall, it looks like that, with one exception being the horde formation. Yeah. All right, so then we go to the shooting phase, and yeah, this was nice. So my archers over here were actually able to put a wound, I think maybe even 2 wounds, on the hell pit. It was awesome. They have to roll 6s to wound, but he doesn't get his regen against him. And as soon as he got those wounds, he doesn't have regen. And for the rest of the phase, and then I landed a rock on his head, direct hit, rolled a 5, took the rest of the wounds off, and panicked his unit of Skaven slaves. So that was very, very lucky and very much appreciated that I get that one hell pit out of the way. So now, again, my thinking is if I can blow through that Skaven slave unit on the hill, get my general very quickly into his screaming bell and heroic killing blow it, that unit will not be unbreakable anymore. I can turn to face this last hell pit, and I really, at that point, I don't think he'd have anything left on the table that could hurt me. So we charge in. You notice the unit on the right is now in the correct formation. The Skaven slaves, because in his turn he got the poison on him, and yeah, and I got some spell on the men-at-arms on the left. I don't know what it is. Maybe the toughness or something. I think I got the toughness buff because I saw that the hell pit might go in there. Anyway, beat him in combat. He wasn't steadfast. He was on snake eyes, and if you look on the top left, he rolled snake eyes. So, eek, it slows down my plans a little bit. I'm not sure I'm overly worried about it, but yeah, nice. Those Skaven slaves like the warpstone. So we go to Skaven's turn 2. So first off, his hell pit tried to charge in there. He angled him towards us. He needed to roll a 12 on 3 dice, and he rolled an 11, which I very much appreciated. The Skaven slaves on the right rallied. There we go. 1 inch away. Those markers are not wounds on him. Those are just the warpstone that's on the hill. But he came in. That would have really made a difference in that fight. He could have got a lot of combat res against those men-at-arms. They were toughness 5, though, so he wouldn't have done too much damage to them, but it certainly would not have helped any. Over here on the far left, his gutter runners come in. There's nothing I can do to save the trebuchet, and I don't really need the trebuchet too much anymore. So I really just need to make sure my my knights, my fast cav don't panic off the board when the trebuchet dies. This was a small unit of slaves on the left that panicked when the hell pit died. They rallied. And during the magic phase, he got wither off on my knights. And I don't know if I tried to stop it or not, but I know that I wasn't that worried about it because their toughness isn't doing anything for them. It's not like my Beastman army where I'm relying on my toughness 4. I've got an armor save to help here, so I think I let it go through just to save dice for something else. So these famous last words, not worried about that spell, but basically these knights are all now toughness 2. So his warp lightning cannon tries to shoot, and for the second turn in a row, it's 2 for 2. It misfires again and blows up. I'm thinking nothing is going right for the Skaven in this game. I direct hit help it and kill it. His warp lightning cannon bites it. That thing's brutal because it can fight. It can fire right into the middle of that combat. My guys are just sitting there doing nothing and can do just a ton of damage. So when everything's said and done, his Skaven slaves blow up, and yeah, so we just reform everybody. The unit on the right looks like they've moved out a little bit, but remember they were in horde formation, so when I reformed them, their center had to stay the same. That's why they are where they are. So, and of course I couldn't overrun because I hadn't charged in this turn. So anyway, we're sitting there. I see my knights charging into the Screaming Bell. I see the peasants charging into the Hell Pit, and I really need them to hold as long as I can. So my plan is, for my magic phase, the only thing that matters is get the toughness buff off on them and hopefully get a souped up one with the Throne of Vines. Because if they can be toughness 7 against a strength 6 Hell Pit, they'll hold up there for as long as I need them to. So we go Bretonnia turn 2, and here's the charge into the Screaming Bell and the Clan Rats. Over here on the right, I march the men-at-arms up. I didn't want to charge because if I lost, he would overrun into the flank of my knights, and I don't need that. And I didn't put the Crown of Command on my Prophetess, so I can't use that as a crutch that I don't have to worry about combat res. So I just marched the men-at-arms up so that the only thing he can do is charge them, and then even if he wins, who cares? On the left, my men-at-arms charge the Hell Pit. And over here, I do a swift reform with the bowmen. Even though these bowman units are small, I went ahead and gave them musicians as well as the flaming attacks. So kind of expensive upgrades for small units, but I reformed them. I was able to make it swift. Move the fast cav up so that when the trebuchet dies, it doesn't panic them. And now I'm just going to shoot at those gutter runners, so if nothing else, after my trebuchet dies, at least they will die. I actually target trebuchets on this unit, but I was actually targeting the back left corner guy. I was hoping it would scatter onto the Clan Rats because they're just going to be steadfast forever. And then I scored a direct hit, and then another one kind of scattered even more onto the unit. So I'm not going to complain. This unit over here that was 80 strong has been hit by his Warp Lightning Cannon and 2 of my trebuchets, and it is much less threatening. I'm really not worried about him charging to my men-at-arms. Even if he wins, he's going to be so diminished, he's not going to do a whole lot. So over here in the middle, yeah, so I've got Throne of Vines up. I'm withered, of course, and I was able to get the toughness buff off on the men-at-arms. This is after combat that you're looking at. Basically, I was able to do 2 wounds on the Screaming Bell, but I couldn't get... Actually, I did get a heroic killing blow, but he ward saved it. But I got 2 other wounds on him from my general, so it's taken 2 wounds, but it's not doing anything. Funny enough, his front left corner as we're facing it is his assassin, and his assassin's in a challenge with my champion, and he was not able to wound the champion, and the champion did a wound on him. So I'm thinking if that champion can kill the assassin, I don't know, I might have to model a trophy on him or something. So anyway, that's the end of fighting for Bretonnia turn 2. Over here, or for that combat, over here the men-at-arms charged in. I actually did 2 wounds on the Hell Pit, and he killed, I think, a couple guys, maybe 3 at the most. But I win combat. He's stubborn 8, re-rollable, and he sticks. So I don't know if the men-at-arms are going to ever be able to push him off the hill. And if I don't, and the game ends, it's going to be contested, and it'll be a tie, I guess, or however that works with the Watchtower. But I'd really rather get him off that hill. But I got really lucky doing 2 wounds. I don't see them being able to get all the wounds off of him. As long as I can keep this toughness buff up, I'm going to be winning combat, though. So at least for this round and next round, I know I'm going to win. And then it's just every magic phase, I've got to get that toughness buff off. Here on the far right, I had flown my Peg Knights up, and then I charged a small unit of slaves, and they popped. And so then I just reformed my Peg Knights. And we go to Skaven turn 3. So what can he do? A Skaven slaves charge my men-at-arms. And this was absolutely brutal. What a dirty little trick. I loved it. So when he withered my knights, and I was thinking, well, it's not a big deal because I'm relying on my armor saves, not my toughness. Yeah, then he cast Plague on the unit. And what that is every model in the unit has to take a toughness test or suffer a wound with no armor saves. Yeah, so you'll notice I used to have a unit there, and now I think I'm lucky that I even have what I have. He just decimated the unit. I got my battle standard bearer and my general both took a wound. The other paladins miraculously passed his toughness test. I'm down to 4 knights. It killed my champion, so we were in the challenge. The champion has no chance to kill his assassin now. He's dead. My only fear now is I don't want that assassin killing my battle standard bearer. So, yeah, brutal. Oh, what a nice combination that is. So, yeah. Over here, the gutter runners charge my trebuchet, easily won in beat it in combat. Turn to face my fast cav, and yeah, well, we're still toughness 7 peasants, so I'm not doing any wounds to the hell pit. He said the 2 markers to the left are actually his wounds, so he has 2 wounds. He's killing, I think, 1 or 2 guys. That's it. He just can't get past my toughness. I win combat. He passes his stubborn 8 rerollable. And over here he charged in. I think he even got the poison buff off on these guys, and it didn't matter. He just really didn't roll well, and I think I even won combat. So I don't need to win combat. I really don't care about this, but I do need my men-at-arms to hold him up long enough. The longer I hold up, that means he can't reform and charge with flank of my knights. And now because my knights all got destroyed, his clan rats are going to be steadfast even longer. At the end of combat, though, it looked like this. And the biggest thing that happened is my general got heroic killing blow off on the screaming bell, and it didn't pass a sword save, and it went pop. So now he doesn't have nearly the ranks that it used to, and now he's not unbreakable. The problem is his Grey Seer, I think, is still not in the front rank. Yeah, whatever. So his assassin issued another challenge, and so I love that because I didn't want him killing my BSB, so I accepted with the other paladin, so I swapped those 2 characters around. So the assassin was not able to kill my paladin. He had 1 wound, he still has 1 wound, and he was able to kill the assassin. So he has his Grey Seer, he still has his Plague Priest, and he has his Battle Standard Bearer and full command, and that's why he's got at least 1 character that's not in base contact, so I can't kill him. Over here on the left, yeah, now I'm just shooting at these guys. On his turn, if his gutter runners charge my fast cav, I'll just flee. I just need to do enough wounds to force a panic test. Their leadership isn't that great. They have a good chance of failing it, and then they'd run off the board. My Knights Errant, you probably noticed I haven't been doing much with them all game. They're really just hanging back so that should the Hell Pit ever beat those men-at-arms, I can countercharge. And it's not like I feel the need to do that necessarily. I just don't have a whole lot else for them to do. And the only thing I'm really worried about is that Hell Pit. If I move up closer, my men-at-arms lose, he's going to charge him. Whereas if I hang back here, my men-at-arms lose. He's not too likely going to get a charge on me, and I can get a charge on him. He's sitting on 2 wounds, so if I charge him, at least I have a chance of killing him. And this is just another unit of archers. I got 3 units of 10 archers. 1 was on the hill, they're dead. 1's on the left shooting at gutter runners, and this one's moving up so that, again, if the men-at-arms ever fail, they can hopefully put some wounds on the hell pit and then open it up for a trebuchet shot. So Bretonnian turn 3, I fly my Peg Knights over. Other than that, we are still locked in combat. Shoot at the gunner runners, do a couple wounds, they fail their panic, run off the board, and that's probably a good trade. I traded 90 points for however many points that unit of 10 gutter runners are, so I think I won that deal. Over here, yeah, well, I have Throne of Vines up, and I got the toughness buff off again on my men-at-arms. I was able to regrow knights, but I got D6 plus 1, and I rolled a 1, so I got 1 knight back. But you know what? It's better than nothing. And over here, of course, just locked in combat, and I'm actually winning this every time. So we go to Skaven's turn 4. He really has nothing to do. He moves a small unit of slaves. They've been trying to charge or move up this whole game, so they're finally, at least you can see them there. Yeah, still locked in there. You know he's got to be frustrated with the Hell Pit Abomination just being owned by a bunch of men-at-arms. I mean, I'm just owning him. I'm winning combat every single time. I'm not doing any wounds to him, but he's only able to do 1 or 2, sometimes 3 to me, and we're just sitting there. And nice blurry picture, but the long and short of it is that all my guys are still there. He looks like now he wouldn't be steadfast, but whatever happened, he passed it, and we're still stuck in that combat. And same thing over here. I'm winning combat, but we're still stuck. I'm kind of surprised I've been winning combat like this because he's in horde formation. He has a lot more attacks than I do, but he's just not making them. You know, we're both hitting on 4s, and the only difference is I'm wounding on 3s and he's wounding on 4s, and then of course I get a 6-up armor save. So I have the slight advantage, but he's got a lot more attacks, and he's just not making them. So Bretonnian turn 4. Yeah, I don't do much. I mean, pretty much just move my archers around. I'm still keeping my knights errant out and back, just in case something weird happens with the hell pit. Because remember, the first of my turn, I don't know how my magic phase is going to go. So, looks like that. Fly the peg knights into this unit just to make sure. I just need them done and dead and out of there. And once I do, that's a ton of points. Now, because it's Watchtower, that may or may not matter. But I would still like to get that thing off the table, turn my knights towards a hell pit and get it dead, and then I know the game's mine. So during the magic phase, yeah, I couldn't get... He stopped throwing the vines, so I threw a handful of dice at the toughness buff, and it goes off with irresistible force. Kills 3 knights. There's only 5 knights there, right? Knights of the Realm, so it kills 3 of the 5. There puts a wound on my BSB, puts a wound on my other paladin. They had wounds before, but because of the Lore of Life buff over time, they've been healed, so put wounds back on them. You know, I actually felt that was a good trade. I don't need these knights necessarily. He has... Skaven's clan rats have 3 ranks. I had 3, now I only have 2. But after combat, he's not going to have 3 ranks. So I didn't need the knights, and I really, really needed the toughness buff. And look at that. Finally, it was so awesome. So as soon as I finished the combat to the right, if you look, the Peg Knights tried to chase down his guys. They failed, but his battle standard bearer is dead. The unit's under 25%. They're going to run off the table next turn, or I'll chase him off with my Peg Knights. I reform my Knights, and then I fought the Hell Pit battle. He was stubborn 8. I won as normal because I had a high enough toughness, and he failed it. And there's no way I'm going to catch him. He runs away 3d6 and got away, but I'm in command of the hill. And I'm not worried about him now because I've got my general free, so if he rallies, no matter what he does, I'm going to be able to charge him at some point, and I'm confident my general can kill him. So that was the end of turn 4. So I rolled a die to see if the game ends, and I rolled a 6, and the game ends. We didn't even fight the battle on the right with men-at-arms. I really kind of think I would have won that again, and he has no leadership around. I think I would have won it and they would have popped, and it didn't matter. If I didn't win it this time, I was going to win it next time. So it was really to the point where it didn't matter. I was going to win the game eventually, but it went ahead and ended with the victorious peasants on the hill. I got a bit from them that Skaven-y kind of bit that I'm going to model on their standard bearer, because those men-at-arms won the game with the help of a prophetess giving them a toughness buff. So a real fun game. It seemed like it was kind of fluffy. It was kind of nice, fighting for this Warpstone Hill, and it kind of felt epic with the men-at-arms just duking it out with the Hell Pit the whole game long, and my knights getting obliterated through spells, but still, them and the clan rats duking it out for so long. So anyway, that was it. Hope you enjoyed it.